Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn about making box and whisker plots. All right, to make a box and whisker plot, that means we have a list of data and we are going to display them in a box and whisker plot. And in order to do that, we need to know 5 different numbers. First of all, we need to know the minimum number, the smallest number. We need to know the first quartile, abbreviated with Q1 lots of times. We need to know the second quartile number. That is also the same as the median. The median is the middle number, or the middle, what is in the middle. And the third quartile we need to know, and the maximum, the biggest, the highest data. These 5 numbers are known as the 5-number summary, and they are used a lot as we are learning statistics. All right, so here we have a list of data, and we are going to put together our 5-number summary. So the minimum, these are our 5 numbers. The minimum, of course, we see the smallest number up here in this list. The smallest number we have is 0. Okay, the largest, the maximum number on this list of data is 9. So now what we need to do is, how do we figure out this middle number, this median? Okay, there's a couple different ways that I have students that like to do this. And one way, we'll start on this, and the next example we'll do the other way. But a lot of students just like to kind of work their way to the middle and cross off each of the ends and then work towards the center and come to the center here. Oh, and we ended up with 2 numbers in the center. So our median is the middle of those 2 numbers, but those 2 numbers happen to be the same. So our quartile 2, our median, is 2. Now, for quartile 1, this first quartile, we are going to look at this lower half of the numbers, and we want to find the middle of this lower half of numbers. So we can do this the same way where we did before, where we can work our way towards the center by marking them off. And we have 2 numbers left right here in the middle. So it's right between those 2 numbers. If they were different numbers, it would be halfway between them, but they're the same number. So our first quartile number is 1. Here, as we look here in this upper half of these numbers, and we can go through and mark these off just like we did before and work our way. What is the middle of these? Oh, right here. 4 and 5 are the middle. So what is halfway between 4 and 5? 4.5. You can always add 4 plus 5, which is 9, and divide by 2. So now we have our 5-number summary. We're going to make our box and whisker plot. We look at these numbers, and on this graph, we are going to draw a line right above. So right above 0, we're going to draw a line. Here, our first quartile was 1. We're going to draw a line right above 1. Our second quartile number was 2. We're going to draw a line right above 2. Our third quartile was 4.5. So right here, halfway between 4 and 5. And our maximum was 9. So we've driven, for these 5-number summary, we've drawn these 5 lines. For a box and whisker plot, you take the 3 middle lines and box them in like this. Okay, so you've made a box out of those 3 middle lines, and then you draw from that box to the minimum, you draw a line, and from that box to the maximum, you draw a line. And this is your box, those are your whiskers. So here's your box and whisker plot. And it's a visual way to look at this data. We can see where our minimum was in this data, our maximum, and we can see where the majority of the data was there in the box. So let's do another example here. All right, this time I'm going to do, some students would prefer to count how many numbers we have here. How many how much data do we have here? How many there are? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we have 14 numbers up here. So we know if we were to divide those in two, we'd have 7 in the lower half and 7 in the larger half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have between the numbers 6 and 7, so we have 7 pieces of data on the lower half and 7 pieces on the upper half. Okay, 7 numbers. So we can always, like we said, our minimum is 1. Our maximum is 10. We know our median is halfway between 6 and 7, which would be 6.5. So now let's look for those. I think I'll change colors here. Let's look for our Q1. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers here on this lower half. So what is halfway there? Well, halfway, if you have 7 pieces of data, and halfway there would be between, would be the fourth one, because you'd have 3 lower and 3 above. So 4 would be our first quartile number. And here we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of data here. So we know this middle one, it's an odd number. So you're going to have 1. If it's an odd number, I circle the middle number, okay? And there's 3 numbers to the left, 3 numbers to the right. Our third quartile was the number 8. And we draw our box and whisker plot. So we're going to draw a number above 1 here. Draw a line, a line above 4. We're going to draw a line above 6.5. Draw a line above 8. Draw a line above 10. These 3 middle lines we connect with the box. And then we draw from that box to our minimum and to our maximum, and those are our whiskers. So this visually shows you the minimum, the maximum, where the main majority of the data is, and that median. All right, let's practice some more. Oh, there with that one. Okay. Go ahead and practice this one and pause your video, and we'll come back. Go ahead and do it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. All right. Here is the answer. Hopefully you were able to do those well. And whether you went through and marked each one off and worked your way to the center, or whether you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and you knew there were 8 on each side, either way, we found out that the numbers between 5 and 5 were our median. So that is right in the middle. Okay, our maximum was 8, our minimum was 3, and this lower half, halfway between, on this lower half here, these 8 numbers, we know halfway between there would be between the 4th and the 5th numbers, and then up on this upper quartile, right there. Hey, draw your box and whisker plot. You did hopefully check that all looks great. Let's do another. Oh, here. I forgot. We have one more thing we're going to learn with this. Let me extend this a little bit. Our range and our inner quartile range. Okay, so what the range is how far from the maximum to the minimum. So we write it's our actual, the difference between our maximum or minimum. So here, our maximum, I'm going to write maximum minus our minimum. And up here, the case is we have our maximum number was 8, subtract 3, so our range is 5. That's the range of your data from how far from your largest to your smallest, okay? Inner quartile range, we are going to take, it's from the third quartile to the first, the distance between the first quartile, difference between the first quartile and the third. So it will actually be, one way to remember that is just Q3 minus Q1. So up here in this case, we have 6 minus 4. So our inner quartile range on this data is 2. All right, here we have a new one, another one. Whoops, here. So let's look at this data. Go ahead and try this out. Maybe we can do this one together again. And we have our minimum is 3. Our maximum is 7. How many pieces of data do we have up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we know we are going to have 8 on each half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 to the left, 8 to the right. Our Q2, our median, is going to be 5 because they're both 5. I'll change colors here as we look over here to the left. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll have 4 when we divide each of those. And so our Q1 is going to be 4. And over here, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right in the middle of those is between 5 and 6, which will be 5.5. We make our box and whisker plot by drawing our lines above 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 5.5, and 7. We're going to box our 3 lines, draw our whiskers out to our minimum and to our maximum. And this is a visual way of looking at this set of data. Our range, remember, is our maximum minus our minimum. So in this case, that's going to be 7 minus 3, which is 4. And our inner quartile range is Q3 minus Q1, which is 5.5 minus 4. And we will get 1.5. All right, for our next thing we're going to talk about, let's actually, right here, what would we need to do? Right here you have a list of data, but it is not in order from least to greatest. So that is something that's very important to do, is make sure your data is in order least to greatest in order to write your 5 number summary and then your box and whisker plot. So go ahead and pause the video, put them in least to greatest, get your 5 number summary, and we'll then turn this video back on. All right. Here, the numbers were written least to greatest, and check and see how you did. And hopefully you did great. The next thing we're going to talk about, I forgot, we're going to do this, practice this range and inner quartile range again. So we have that learned. Good. Okay, remember range is maximum minus minimum. So our range on this one is 9. Our inner quartile range is our Q3, which is 9, minus our Q1, which is 3.5. And that will be 5.5. Here, the last thing we're going to do is talk about looking at a box and whisker plot and interpreting what it means. So here we have a box and whisker plot that represents the scores earned on a math test. So let's go through and look at this A. What is our median score? Well, remember, on a box and whisker plot, that is the line that is in the center, or the line that's inside the box. On this case, it's 75. So that was our median score. What score represents the first quartile? The first quartile is the one that's the left side of the box. Right here was our first quartile. And that one is 70. So looking at What statement is not true about the box and whisker plot shown? Well, let's look through our answers here. 75 represents the mean score. Mean is another way we're going to learn more of, is talking about when you add up all the data and divide and get the average, is what a word is used a lot, the mean score. 75 is our median, not necessarily our mean, but let's go see. That might not be true. Let's see what the rest of them say. 100 represents the maximum score. Yep, that's true. 85 represents the third quartile. Yep, that's true. And 55 represents the minimum score. So we do know that it's this number 1 here that is not true on this. Okay, D, a score of 85 on the box and whisker plot shown refers to, the score of 85 we know refers to this right here is our third quartile. Okay, so this helped today. We've learned how to make box and whisker plots with our 5-number summaries, and now we've looked at a box and whisker plot and interpreted what it means. I hope this helps on your homework, and have a great day.